Everyone, this is Heidi with Downtown NorCal Live, and today I'm going to be introducing you to Lori Prizmich. Lori is she's with Lori Prizmich and Associates, Lori Prizmich and Associates, Remax Gold. A little early on a Saturday. Hi, Lori. How are you doing?
How are you?
So I wanted to bring you in to talk about both the industry, but also something you have decided to sponsor, and that is the Davis Downtown Communal Art Project. Can you talk about that?
Well, the idea behind it was born from the DDBA, and we're all going through the coronavirus shutdown. And I think that we were trying to come together as a community and demonstrate sort of through art how people are feeling and processing the shelter in place. So I guess that's kind of a synopsis.
Yeah. I believe that next Friday is the deadline for submissions. What kinds of art are they looking for?
Paintings, drawings, chalk, watercolor, photography. I don't know that there's anything really, as long as you can visually see it, I think that it's in bounds, but you'll have to check the website to make sure.
Yeah, and that website for folks is davisdowntown.com. All of the information is there. I also understand they're open to all ages. Is that right?
Yeah, different categories.
Yeah.
And then there's, I think one of the sort of prizes is the fact that winners, they'll be selected, of course, by a panel, and then they may end up on stamps or different marketing materials. So you may be famous, Davis famous at least.
Now, what inspired you to sponsor this? I know that our business leaders get a lot of sponsorship opportunities and ways to support all kinds of charitable events. What about this spoke to you?
When the shelter in place first started, it really hit me how much the actual brick and mortar stores were going to be affected, because it's hard. Being a business owner, as we all know, is really hard. And during the shutdown, certain businesses are impacted more than others, and the brick and mortar stores really were hurting. So I was trying to interview also some of the businesses down here, and one of the business owners came up with this idea, and I just thought, that is great to bring awareness to downtown. I think we all need to really support. If our vibe downtown disappears, it changes everything. And it changes everything for me as a realtor, because when you come to look at houses in Davis, I mean, the call that I get all the time is, I want to live in a town or a small city where I can walk around and do things. If the businesses are gone, that goes away. And so I want to do everything I can to support those people.
That's a really good transition to talk about the industry. So how has it impacted you? What is the span that you can walk us through from shelter in place to now?
When the shelter in place first started, I think everybody was mostly in shock, and the overall, I think we all agreed that, at least the realtors agreed that things were very quiet for the first 30 days. But from the people that I'm talking to, some of the really active realtors, our phones started blowing up as soon as the shelter in place was lifted. And I think what happened is, we kind of agree, it's anecdotal, but that people were waiting for this shelter in place to lift. And then when it was extended, people started thinking, oh my gosh, I can't wait any longer. We have to get the kids moved. We have a lease that's expiring. Whatever the case was, they just decided we're not waiting any longer. So from that point forward, all bets were off. The phone has been ringing off the hook, and with both buyers and sellers, and things are moving really fast. We're still getting multiple offers. It's still a great time to buy. Interest rates are super low, and it's certainly a good time to sell because we don't have a ton of inventory.
Now, you mentioned before we came on that there have been different protocols by county. So how has that impacted you?
Well, I think it's been confusing for buyers, because in the Bay Area, they were completely shut down. There were no showings at all. And we get a lot of Bay Area buyers in Davis. So those buyers were not calling and not coming to Davis, and in Yolo County, we were allowed to do showings, but under certain, restrictive sort of protocols. In Sacramento, they were having no showings also. So we were kind of cut right sandwiched in between these two areas that were not really operating like we were. So it did complicate things a bit. We're just having to field calls about what are you able to do and not, and it's just a matter of sorting through that thing. Everything is taking a little longer because every time we have a showing, we have to have documents signed, advisories signed, and by all the parties. And there's a lot of cleaning that goes on, which is understandable. And we're just trying to be really cautious and not contribute to the problem.
And to clarify, by showings, you're not talking about open houses and spending a lot of time in the house and being even present with your buyers potentially. Is that right?
Well, we are present with the buyer because, of course, they can't they can't open house by themselves. They have to have an agent. So normally we would, of course, you have a mask and either gloves or wipes. The buyers don't touch anything. There are no children allowed at all. There are no open houses, and it's just private showings only. Much easier with a vacant house, obviously, because there's no risk if there's no one living there to a potential occupant. But it does get a little bit complicated, and we're trying to be really mindful of that and observe social distancing. And sometimes you have to remind the buyers to, social distance. But yeah. It's working out. It's a learning process.
And how would folks reach you if they wish to get into the market right now?
Well, you'd have a hard time not finding me. I'm Lori Prizmich and Associates, and you should be able to find me anywhere: Facebook, Instagram, Yelp, LinkedIn. And I think that I'm the only agent in Davis with the first name Lori. So pretty easy to find, but my number is 530-845-3325, and I have multiple websites. If you Google Lori Prizmich, you'll find me.
Okay, that's good advice. So parents, kids are out of school, and so I just want to back up and remind you that the Davis Downtown Business Association is sponsoring the art project we talked about earlier in the interview that Lori is sponsoring. So go ahead and get those kiddos busy on their art projects.
It'll be fun. I can't wait to see all the submissions.
For sure. Again, that website is davisdowntown.com, and you know how to reach Lori. Just Google Lori. Lori, thank you for joining me.
All right. Thank you, Heidi.